Okay, hi and welcome everyone. Do we have any listeners tuning in? I guess so. Well, first of all, I want to present myself. I'm Jorge Carvajal Powers, but Jorge Powers works fine. I've been working with Matomo for a lot of years. I have a background in computer and system science. I've been working as Matomo lead at Digitalist for many years, and before that, I was a CTO at a digital marketing company. I've been working 10 plus years in the field of digital marketing and data analyzing. I started off with Google Analytics, like most of y'all, probably, because there were no Matomo or Playvik back then that were behind. I'm an open source advocate. I use mostly open source in everything I do, and I have a GitHub repo where I post most of my stuff. So most of my stuff is open source. So you can look that up. If you can't find it, find me on LinkedIn. I go by the name Georges, and so on and so on. Okay, what am I gonna talk about today? I'm gonna talk about, let's see here. Sorry, I was a little bit distracted this morning. I'm gonna talk about the future. Matomo Unleashed, Global Insights and the AI-Neurotech Frontier. Okay. I'm also recently a certified Matomo Master Trainer, which I believe I was one of the first because I also had a dialogue with the executives of Matomo or InnoCraft about which logo they were going to use for the certification program. That was really exciting, if you ask me. Just a sec. I'm trying to find my speaker notes. So most of you know this one. There. I need to get into my acting mode because I'm gonna read a monologue to you. It goes something like this. Do you believe in faith? Do you have control of your life? Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know, you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. But there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what that is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about? Surveillance capitalism is everywhere. It's all around us, even now in this very room. You can see it, you can smell it. You can see it when you look at your screen or when you turn on your smart TV. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go out for a dinner, when you pay your taxes. It is your digital presence in your pockets, dopamine coded to blind you from the truth that you are a slave. Like most of all, we were born into bondage, born into a prison that we cannot smell or taste or touch, a prison for our minds. I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole. I can see it in your eyes. You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees, or a woman, because he's expecting to wake up. Ironically, this is not far from the truth. Do you believe in faith? I don't like the idea of someone being in control of my life. Okay, that's a bit, it's from the Matrix, you guessed it. You're right. I tweaked it just a little bit to make it more appropriate for this presentation. But still, those words from my movie have never been closer to the truth as today. I'm gonna come back to that. So let me continue. Unlike Neo, we cannot choose to take the red and blue pill. If we take the blue pill, we go back asleep and wake up in the morning remembering nothing ever happened. We go on with our lives. We take the red pill, and we're in on a journey of discovery of what's happening. Why capitalism? Why capitalism? This is the wording of a Harvard professor, Shoshana Zuboff, who wrote the book of The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, which was named as Obama's #1 book recommendation. I think it was 2018, maybe. And many of you have seen her. I guess not anyone have missed the Social Dilemma on Netflix, where they interview her and she talks a lot about how we humans have been made into commodities and we are being sold to highest bidders. We are right now being targeted, we're being monitored, and we are being profiled and sold as commodities. Let that sink in for a second. You are a product. Okay? Your behavior is more valuable for big IT giants and tech companies than for yourself, because I know you try to have good routines, make the gym 3 times a week or go out for long walks. But how often do you really do that? Do you meet your expectation? It doesn't matter for the big tech companies because they know what you do and they can even predict your next move. Let's say you have booked in your calendar that you're going to work out in the morning. And I don't know, you open your phone in the morning and you get a targeted ad for buying a muffin instead, let's say. Or even I think it was in the Social Dilemma actually, I haven't seen it for a couple of years now, but there was a pregnant woman who didn't even know that she was pregnant. And she got targeted with ads for pregnant women, like baby stuff. And that's pretty scary. And we're talking about maybe 5+ years ago. That's how advanced the technology was 5 or 10 years ago. Can you imagine now? With the advancement of the technology, I mean, I'm afraid of, when I wake up in the morning, I know that I'm being monitored. I know that I'm being tracked. I know that I live in the matrix. What can I do about it? What can I really do about it? First of all, I can use Matomo. That's great. I just want to give kudos to Max Schrems. I don't know if you saw his speech yesterday, but if you didn't, and if it's recorded, I recommend everyone to watch it. Because if I cannot do anything about the matrix, I cannot do anything. I mean, but here we have an organization, non-profit organization, that are fighting against these tech giants. I mean, it's a David and Goliath story. I mean, write a story plot, make a movie about it. You tell me. They won twice, actually, or I have to go back, but soon we're gonna have Max Schrems 3, pretty much, because the talk nowadays is the US adequacy decision made by the EU, and as Max Schrems explained yesterday, it's just politics. Because there's a secret, I don't remember the wording, but if the president gives an order, there's a way for him, like 30 minutes after he signs the deal, to change it secretly without anyone knowing. Which means the president order and the EU adequacy decision for privacy is bullshit. That's what it means, basically. Just politics. Just documents that no one wants to read because everyone is like, they probably have lawyers working on that. They know what they're doing. This is the top of the top, the elite. So I'm glad that there's an organization like None of Your Effing Business. And I want to take credit because I did some digging into the organization and I found that the actual original name of the organization was FM Business, but they had to remove that. So this was the original logo. None of Your Business. See? And I found it. It's documented. It's on the internet. So it has to be true. Of course I'm joking. So, but that's none of your business. Pun intended. So why should I care? We have GDPR, are regulating the privacy of European citizens. Why should I care? We, the top level, they are regulating everything for us. To some extent, yes, that's true. But as Max Schrems explained yesterday, it's just politics. It's just a show for the masses. What's really happening is that whenever you go online, whether you use your cell phone, text, SMS, you write an email, or whatever, that's transmitted through the internet, the network. Network consists of a lot of routers, modems. They're located physically in someone's basement or in the utility room of a big house. Okay? What stops anyone from lurking into the modem and see what traffic passes? So remember I said the technology is so advanced, like 5 or even 10 years ago, it was so advanced. Imagine today, because now it's getting regulated, because someone, especially whistleblowers like Edward Snowden or Julian Assange or Max Schrems, even, they were like, wait a minute, this is an infringement of my privacy, or like, why, what do you have to do with my data? And so a person of interest, but everyone is a person of interest. I mean, you want to go online, do your tax fiscal declaration without sending your numbers to a foreign government. What is it in their interest to do that? So I think you should care. And if you don't care for yourself, at least care for other people, especially the next generation, our children. Because we have built in a habit of going online, browsing to a random website, just click accept all cookies, give away my personal data. That's a habit. It's not a good habit, but this is what we teach our children. Subconsciously or consciously, I don't know. Have you ever thought about when you give your child a screen, you let them go on YouTube? They're watching, I don't know, Paw Patrol, Dora the Explorer, or my daughter, she's a fan of Winnie the Pooh, with the newest, where they made a main character of Darby. And in between, there's ads. Make them, innocent, tiny children, aware of things they should never have been aware of. Let children be children, right? Who ever thought of that? No one. But it's happening, and we let it happen because of our habits. That's scary. One of my favorite moments in Matrix, the movie, this is when Neo is unplugged from the matrix. And this is the moment he realizes it's not just him, it's millions or even billions of people that are plugged into the matrix. For me, this is reality. This is happening right now. We're too busy not caring. This is what happens every day, day in, day out. And somehow we have learned to accept it, and we are okay with that. I mean, because what's the option? Not using your phone? Come on. That's not going to happen. We want to browse the internet, right? We want to go to a dinner with our friends, and whenever we're mansplaining whatever topic we're talking about, you want to be right, right? You want to be the all-knowing guy who knows everything. So whenever you get into an argument, you're going to be like, okay, let me just chat GPT that, and I'll get back to you. Or let me Google that. So it happens, and it's a habit. This is where we're at right now. So what's next? I just mentioned ChatGPT, and I'm not gonna. Before I go into ChatGPT, I have this slide also. I'm just gonna talk real quick about this. This is something, in my mind, it's more real than the president order for data privacy or privacy shield or whatever they want to call it. This is actually affected in law. I think in the beginning of 2023, in like state of California, you have the General Data Protection Regulation, you have the California Consumer Privacy Act, California Privacy Rights Act, that's the one from January 2023. And you see a comparison with GDPR here in the green column. And then you have some states that are following that. You have Virginia, Colorado, and I don't remember if it was Oregon or Washington. They're following too. Anyhow, but there's also the HIPAA Act, for example, like any healthcare dealing with patient information in the US, they're not allowed to use Google Analytics, basically, because of their surveillance. And this is in US. I mean, come on, everyone knows it's happening. So I've been contacted by healthcare businesses in the US to install and maintain, manage Matomo installations or non-profit organizations. I'm not going to call them by name, but you get the main picture. This is happening. Privacy is getting bigger. It's all around us. Even Turkey has their own privacy regulation. I mean, and China too. I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought? China has their own data privacy regulation. I mean, so obviously they know what they're doing, but they also don't give a shit rat's ass about like privacy when it matters. And this is the same in the US because they're saying like, okay, sure, we'll comply with the privacy, and that's like what they're formally explaining or saying out loud. But in reality, what is happening? They still use Prism. They still use mass surveillance technologies, and the technology today is so advanced we cannot even comprehend the possibilities that they do. I mean, they can even predict everything. And here's the thought. Okay, I already mentioned HIPAA. AI or AL. So whenever I see AI nowadays, I think of this song. First to name it, get a chocolate bar. You can be my bodyguard. Love you, long lost pal. Call me out. Because the I is capitalized and looks like an L. So call me out. So I just got to plug in my charger. So what's happening in the new era of AI Frontier? Okay, so everyone is using ChatGPT nowadays. Like, if you're not using it, it's because you're afraid that they will track you. But you don't have to worry about that. They will still track you, so don't worry about that. Just use it. It's free most of the time, but you can have the premium version and you pay for it. So I think about often last year when I went to, or was it 2 years ago? I can't even remember. I went to We Are Developer conference in Berlin, and this is right, it was last year, when GitHub decided to launch Copilot. Okay, so I like new technology. I like to be the first one to try out new stuff. I think that's cool, and I love new things. So I tend to jump on new stuff right away when it's released. So of course, before Copilot, I was using Kite. If you're familiar with that, Kite was good, not great. And then Copilot released. I was just, okay, same as Kite. I thought it was buggy, but it worked most of the times because when you're coding, you type stuff and you don't always remember, so you have to like go into Stack Overflow or whatever to like get a fresh reminder of what it is you're coding, right? And then Copilot improved, got better, and then they released Copilot X, and I got an early access to that, and I could like, if I have a bug in my code, I can just right click and explain why is this a bug or whatever, and so it's cool. Technology is cool. So Thomas Dohnke, the CEO of GitHub, was attending We Are Developers conference last year at the same time as when I was there. And when I heard that they were gonna have a more laid back session with him on a couch, and anyone can ask questions. Of course, I was the first one there. I sat in the front row, and I was on it. I was on it. So I started preparing my questions, and of course, I got some. I froze in the moment, but I think I got out my question. Like, so AI is coming now. Is developers gonna get more or less smarter? Let's say dumber. Are they gonna be more dumber? And he looks at me and he reflects, and he gazes into nothingness, and then he gets back to me and replies something similar. I don't know word by word, but it's so true, and I love the answer he gave me was that think about when the first printing solution came out, when you could start printing or press papers. Like, it was a new technology. Everybody thought it was the devil, and no one wanted to know about it. And people are gonna lose jobs, and they're gonna like unleash mayhem. But the fact is that the ones who adapt, sorry for being a little bit Darwinistic here, but survival is of the most adaptable, not the most fittest. Remember that. Which is funny because I just saw some quote that the other day saying it was Darwin that said survival of the fittest, but actually it's survival of the most adaptable. And that is true oftentimes with technology. So with AI. So of course, when a new technology releases, I want to be first to adapt it because adapt or die, right? And my concern, we're using AI technology every day. We don't even know it. When you write a text, SMS, you get suggestions. And this is how like AI comes into our reality, our lives more and more, like, but tiny bits at the moment, you know. And now it's so advanced that if we would retract all AI, that will unleash mayhem. That will create chaos, I think, because we're so dependent on it nowadays, but we don't know about it. And how our brain works, like we have our prefrontal cortex, we have our animal instincts, our reptile brain, the amygdala, we have the hippocampus, we have our brain is a machine perfected over millions of years. And I can go on and talk about this for a long time, but just for this presentation, I will repeat it one more time. Our brain is perfected over millions of years, going through cycles of evolution. Okay? And now, what scientists discovered in quantum physics, for example, how atoms are or quantum particles are predictable. They will know the outcome. Like you split an atom or whatever you call it, you put it in a container on one side of the globe, and you put another one on the other side of the globe, and you color it blue or green, I don't remember. And instantly the other particle on the other side of the globe will also change color. That's predictable, right? So you have Neil, Jason, what's his name? Grace. You have even Elon Musk. That's a person you're probably familiar with. He's a bright thinker. Not everyone likes him, understandable. He's very controversial. But yeah, he wouldn't be where he's at if he wasn't bright. He's good at what he does. So let's give him that. I personally think that a human is a human, but as long as you stand by your values and be a good person, like work hard and be nice to people, that's like one of my ground principles. He's not a bad person. He had a lot of bad things happen to him, of course, but that is when you get a lot of media attention. Anyways, he and many other scientists also, and mainly because of recent research in quantum physics, a lot of scientists think that we already live in a simulation. Okay, back to Matrix. Because AI is so advanced, and if you're a gamer, I'm not a gamer. I mean, I used to game when I was a kid, but nowadays I have too many kids to take care of, and there's no spare time for me to even play a FIFA football game on PlayStation. Like, I don't game anymore. But I've seen people who game a lot, and the graphics nowadays, and with Metaverse or Oculus Rift, graphics are really good. They're really good. I mean, when I was a kid, I played Doom, and I thought that was like, whoa, like that 3D, you know. Nowadays, it's like almost real life like, okay? So some scientists believe that in the future, we're gonna create virtualities where we can go in and be ourselves in a virtual reality and so on and so on. And some scientists even go even further and claim that we already live in a simulation, that we're only simulations in this life from like a previous advanced civilization that created this AI, because everything is mathematics. You go into nature, you look at the flower, you see the Fibonacci sequence. You change things in quantum physics. This is not me talking. I'm not crazy. I'm like repeating what other scientists says and other respectable people says. So if you want to think I'm crazy, go ahead. Anyways, so the next thing, it's already happening, and people are integrating themselves with technology, like inserting a chip or a RFID reader in their palms so that they can open doors. You have glasses you can have so you can see updates in real time. And the next thing is chips into the brain. I think someone said there's probably some research about that. And telepathic communication. So if you ever seen a documentary about aliens, like they have long heads and they're like, who says they're aliens from a distant planet or system? Maybe they're just us from the future who just wanted to look what we looked like back then. I don't know. Anyways, I think it's time to wrap up, and the next thing I predict this year is or maybe next year, because this year is about to come to an end, but like we saw in Italy, the government wanted to restrict AI advancement, and you have one of the biggest startups now in Europe is, I think they're from France. Give me a moment, I will remember the name, but they got the most funding for a startup in Europe like ever, and it exceeded like a number that's infinite for their AI startup after ChatGPT. So in Italy, what they did were they got scared, like, okay, now we need to regulate the advancement of AI technology. And Elon Musk and all the head top executives in Silicon Valley got together and they wrote a memo, like trying to reason with ChatGPT and tell them that, okay, you need to pause, you need to break, you need to slow down. You cannot go this fast because we either need to catch up, and this is gonna change history and how humanity, like for all future. So the next thing is regulation, I think. Much like GDPR for tracking and data analysis, the next privacy area will be within AI, because you don't want to train your model on biased data and so on. You don't want to have racist answers to all your questions, or like a man-dominated world. Like you want to get a fair, non-biased result. So I think with that, I'm gonna leave room for questions if there's any questions. Silva, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me, Jorge? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Is there any questions?
Okay, perfect. For the moment, there are no questions in the chat, so I'd like to invite everyone. If there are any questions, this is your moment to shoot them.
Come on now, don't be afraid.
Yeah, let's wait just a little bit more. Okay, I don't think there are any questions, but the chat will be open, so everyone can continue the conversation there if you want to ask something later to Jorge. So thank you very much for joining us today, Jorge. It's always a pleasure to have you at the Matomo Camp.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bye bye. Have a good day.